Hi you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is Dana Ray here, and I am back with another word from the Lord for you guys this morning. Thank you guys for being here. Welcome back to everybody who is an OG, and welcome for the first time to everybody who is new. Once again, I am Dana Ray, and I am a prophetic voice sent to share with you guys what the Lord has allowed me to experience and share, and what the Lord has told me and given me through dreams, visions, numbers, all these ways that He speaks, and He wants to share it with you guys because He loves you guys and He wants you guys to understand what you're going through and what He's trying to speak to you, and He uses a lot of our voices to confirm it. So today is March 20th. I think today is the first day of spring, so if it is, happy spring, you guys. The title of this particular word, I have so many words to release today, to record today, and I'm going to, I believe this one is to be released today because there's an urgency behind this word because of where most of us are in our walk right now, especially with these marriages and with coming into connection with these divine counterparts. God is wanting to especially tell His women some things right now so that you guys will not mess up what He is trying to do, okay? So this word is going to be released today, but the other one's probably sometime this week. I'm just not sure what day. I also want to say that God told me last night to get off of YouTube again for 3 days. So I will not be responding to your comments. I will not be able to, be watching nobody's YouTube videos or anything until Thursday. So you can still definitely comment, and on Thursday morning I'm gonna get up early and communicate with you guys because I really love communicating with you guys, and I really love hearing your testimonies and your response and stuff in the comments. So definitely still do that, but just know that God has called me on a fast again from YouTube. He did say still release the words He wants me to release, but I am not to be up there interacting because I need to focus, because y'all, He got me working for Him, y'all. Like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna record like 3 words today. So I got to get rolling because a lot of times on the weekends, I work on weekends and I cannot record because I work 12-hour shifts. I have to travel out of town to work. So a lot of my work for God, as far as releasing the words He's called me to release, has to be done during the week. So that's why on the weekends, you guys see that I'm a little bit quiet, or I'm releasing a video that I've recorded at another time. So thank you for your grace. Thank you for your love. And thank you guys once again for being here. So the title of this word today is You Will Be Their Choice. God never forces anything. You will be their choice. God never forces anything. You don't have to force anything. The word that is ringing in my spirit right now, let the man pursue you. It is important, it is essential to this going the way that God wants it to go, that you do not get in God's way. Sit still. Sit still. I've realized over this weekend, by watching a couple of videos that the Lord has led me to watch, why God has had me in this process for so long. It's because He wants me to experience these things, because He trusts me with His promise, and He's doing it a lot for you guys. He's showing you guys who your spouse is, or confirming who your spouse is, but you're not like really communicating with them, and they're not acting like they know and stuff like this. This is what God is doing in this season, and He's allowed us to walk this thing out so that we can help you. So you have to receive what God is saying, even though it may not go with what your flesh wants to do. Okay, there's a big issue of control that a lot of us women have, because we don't, and it's rooted in our lack of trust in God, that He can completely do it without our intervention. God does not need our help to bring a man to Him. Okay? God does not need us putting our 2 cents and trying to, manipulate this man into seeing us or choosing us. That is not how God works. He will completely get the glory from your story. So to make it easier for you, you need to obey what He has told you to do. And He says, sit still. sit still. Do not reach out. Do not be thirsty. Do not pursue these men. Absolutely not. Sit still. Please. A lot of you guys don't understand that the prophetic word or promise that God has given you is contingent on your obedience. If you don't do what he says, you will run the man away. And your kingdom spouse will be dashing over to some other woman. Okay? There is a way that God is working through these men. These men have to hear God for themselves. You don't have to do anything to manipulate God's promise. Only God is in charge of that. Humble yourselves. Okay, this word comes from me on March 17th. I got an email and it said, get set for guests. So we already know that the guests are the spouses that are coming into our vicinity, okay? Some of them are going to be coming into our homes very quickly, or we're going to be guests in their lives. But when God uses this word guest right now, I know that he's saying the guest that is coming into my house, which will be my spouse, okay? So this get set for guests email came at 8:44 in the morning on March 17th. 8:44 in the Strong's Concordance means acting of one's own will, needing no external persuasion to decide or act. Okay? God is saying that the guests that are coming into your lives, the spouses that are coming into your lives, will be acting on their own will. They will be choosing you because they have come they have accepted God's choice for them, and that is you. They want you. Nothing will have to convince them that they want you. Okay, God is changing their hearts. They're not being forced. Just like God gave us a choice, God has given them a choice, and they have chosen God's perfect person for them, which is you, or which will be you if you're not quite at that stage in your walk yet. Okay? They will not be forced, sweetie. Okay? Next part that goes along with this is I had a hotel. I stayed in a hotel over this weekend for work. And my room number in the hotel was 138. And I was like, 138. But if God only showed me a number one time, I don't really usually look it up. But then I saw 138 again the next morning, like when on a license tag or something. So I was like, okay, let me look up 138. 138 in the Strong's Concordance is to lay hold of by personal choice, to choose. The men of God are choosing the wives that God has set aside for them. They do not need your help in manipulation. They do not need your help in making yourself obvious or open or available. They do not need you to tell them that you are their wife. Let them speak first. Let them invite you out first. Let them call you first. Let them pursue you first. All right. There are two dreams that God has given me to support this. And the dream that he gave me this morning, before I understood what he was talking about, I was like, oh no, I know you're not talking about my man. Okay. I know we ain't going back into here. I was a little bit concerned and I was annoyed with that dream because I was like, but now I've realized that when God puts my actual husband in my dreams, he's wanting me to share it with you guys and saying, this is your actual kingdom spouses that he has promised you guys that he's using to depict in my dream through my husband. Okay. He's talking about your spouses, and this is something that you need to do and how you need to respond. Okay. So the first dream, that I am going to share, it was probably come from a few weeks ago. All right. So it was Christmas time, I think. And my husband had come over the day before and he was playing games with us. He and my little cousin, his name is Corin, had gotten kind of close. The next day, my husband was supposed to come back, but he wasn't really responding to the message that I sent him. So I didn't know if he was going to come or not. So then it feels like my husband is now Will Smith in Fresh Prince. And his dad/uncle is telling me that he dropped off his baby and left. I think my husband had been drinking a lot and was not in the place to receive me nor keep his baby. It was too much for him, so he was avoiding me. I wasn't upset or worried at all. I was just there with his dad/uncle, and now the baby was there. The dad/uncle seemed disappointed and like he knew my husband was going to do this when something good finally happened to him. I feel like this setting was a mall like a food court setting or something. And I also remember my little cousin Corin asking if my husband was going to be back. And I told him, oh, he'll definitely be back. You'll see plenty of him, because I knew eventually he would come for good. Okay? So if you guys haven't been following the whole process, in the dream, where the Lord, in the word where the Lord says your husband is running or something, running from God, the setting of that dream was in a mall food court setting. God is bringing this food court setting back around to and attaching, running to this word too, okay, and to this mall setting, which I knew that when the way that God gave me those dreams before, I knew that when I was in the season and the marriage or whatever was about to come forth, when the connection was about to be made, he keeps using this mall setting. So many of you are in the season where the connection is about to be made. Everybody's connection is not going to take off running like God has promised some of us. Some of us, he said, Speedy, you're going to get married fast. You're going to get married within weeks, days, months of you meeting the person that is a complete stranger. Some of you guys, you will have a different process, okay? It is not going to immediately happen like that. The man is not going to immediately know why he's reaching out to you, why he wants to pursue you. He's not going to immediately know that you're his wife, okay? God is going to cause that man to, reach out to you or pursue you or like a picture or something, because God is trying to show the man that you are the one, but there's a process that he needs to go through with these men. They're not going to know. They're not, just because they sent you a message, they have no idea probably that you are their wife. God is working in them, doing something that they won't even understand until later on when they look back at it. Okay? So that's why you need to just play your role, respond, and that's it. You don't need to say anything more than a simple response. Okay? In this dream, all right, I had already been in connection with my spouse, okay? I don't know if we had known that we were each other's spouses or not. I'm not sure. But what happened is he was over with me and my family on this first day, and then the next day, he wasn't responding to my message. There's a lot of men, and they deal with a lot of fear. They deal with a lot of fear of failure and fear of getting it wrong again, because they have been hurt and because they have gotten it wrong so many times before. Okay? So some of them will second guess whether you are the person, whether they should keep going with you. They will think that you're too good to be true. They will run. They don't need you to run after them. Sit still, as a woman should, as a queen should. The king will come and get you. Okay? So then, now it feels like my husband is now Will Smith in Fresh Prince. And when I see this part, my mind goes to the scene where Will Smith, like, he was like, my daddy don't love me, man. Like, talking about his real daddy to Uncle Phil. Y'all know that scene at the end of Fresh Prince, that episode where he was crying and like he wanted his father. A lot of these men have mother-father wounds and issues, okay, that have not been healed. They are having to allow God to love them and to father them and to mother them, because their parents were not effective. They were not right parents, okay? So because of all of this stress of my husband's past and him being Will Smith and not having the father in his life, this baby, this promise, he left it. He left the promise. He ran from the promise and went and got drunk, went into his old ways of coping with his hurt and pain. Okay? And his dad was like, his dad was disappointed. God, like, I knew he was going to do this. I knew he was, as soon as something good came into his life, I knew he was going to run. These men are not used to receiving good things. They do not think they are worthy of good things. They will not think they are worthy of you. They will not know how to keep you and hold you in the beginning. It's important that God deals with their heart and God shows them how to love you, how that, this one is different. She's not going to leave you. It's not too good to be true. God has to tell them that and convince them of that. They have to believe that from God. They have to hear that from Him. Their relationship with God has to be top tier before they can ever be the right spouse to you. All right? Daddy was disappointed, but I was like, oh, he'll be back. I know he's coming back because I know what God told me. And I believe what God told me. And I know God doesn't need me to do anything but sit still. I got the baby. I got the promise. It's fine. I'm going to hold it right here and protect it until you are ready. Sit still and wait until the man is ready. Okay? My little cousin was like, oh, is he going to be back? And I'm like, oh, he'll definitely be back. You'll be seeing a lot of him because he is my husband. And I know what God has shown me about him. So I know that God does not lie. So I can trust him. Okay? That's the one dream. And thank you, Lord, for helping me to interpret that correctly how you wanted me to. Now, this other dream that he gave me this morning that got me a little teed off, y'all. Y'all, trying to be a prophetic voice for y'all. I'd be like, wait, you talking about me? Or you talking about somebody else? And then God was like, okay, no, I want you to release this. And I use this because I want you to release this. And I want it to, go over correctly to the people I've called to you. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, here's the dream that I had this morning. I was in my old bed in my childhood home, okay? I had had some previous conversations with my husband. It seems that he was inconsistent with his calls. So then he called me another time, and I was asking him a lot of questions, I think, about why he was inconsistent. I think he was getting annoyed. Then the phone connection got weird and disconnected. So there was no service now. And I was trying to call him back, and the phone was like asking me if I wanted to use Bluetooth or Wi-Fi to call him. And I was like, yes. But then I feel like it wouldn't connect again. I was feeling like I was a little, upset and desperate to talk to him. And I also feel like he mistakenly called me by the wrong name. Then I feel like I was in a food court, again, of some sort, and I needed to talk to somebody about what had happened. I think it was me and my friend Mia looking for a seat. We found a space. I feel like I was super disappointed in my husband and that he was not in the place I expected him to be in. Deep down, I knew that if God had said it, then it was going to be, but I was very disappointed by how it was all playing out. I feel like my husband was avoiding me again, and it was just very weird. All right, this is what I wrote after I wrote this dream down. I said, God, I'm not understanding what's happening here. What are you saying? This is a really disheartening dream, and I'm not understanding what the message is. Okay? That's when I was like, wait, because I have not seen my spouse. I'm not on social media. I have not heard from him. I know I ain't out of order. I ain't been looking, texting, calling nobody. So I'm like, what is this about? What have I done? Or is this going to happen? So I was just kind of disheartened because this is the first kind of dream. Well, I would say the second one, because the first one is that he was running and I thought he was running from me, but it really was running from God. But this is the second kind of dream that's pictured my husband in a light that I didn't necessarily like. And I'm like, look, you done set me up for something else. So that's why the dream was disappointing, because God has already set me up for a different kind of way that my promise was going to play out. So this was like, this is not in alignment, with how you said things are going to happen. That's how I knew the dream was not necessarily for me, but it is for a lot of you. Because like I said before, everybody's promise is not going to be whip, spit, lickety split. And I know, there are going to be some things in my promise, actually, I've already walked through some things. I've already walked through some times that I've connected with my spouse and I thought we was going to hit it off running, and it was absolutely not. Like, I didn't say anything bad, nothing bad happened, but I was expecting more. I was expecting that this was going to be the time, and it still wasn't. So I still had to sit still, go somewhere and sit in the corner and be quiet. Like I didn't know, like this has been going on 2 years that I've known who this person is. And that we have been, connecting here and there. And I'm thinking, oh, this might be it. Oh, this might be it. And it not be it. So you have to realize that God has walked me through this. Like he has trusted me with this process, and I have done it correctly. And whenever I scream and I get mad and I get frustrated and I'm like, what? And I cry and I'm like, what? He doesn't see me and all this stuff. I take that to God. I don't take that to the man. Absolutely not, baby. You ain't gonna know nothing. Hey. Even when I used to start liking too many pictures and stuff or commenting, God would be like, nope, shut it up, shut it down. So now there was a time period where I couldn't like anything, where I couldn't comment at all. And then God released me. Okay, you can say a little bit here and there, but at this time, I'm so afraid to like mess up what God is doing. I don't want to mess up his plan, baby. I don't want to be interfering. I don't want to be like manipulating your plan or nothing like that, or getting in the way. That's where I'm at with God. I fear him, and I want his promise so bad, and I want the thing that he said has for me so bad. Until before I say anything, I'm like, Lord, what you want me to say and how you want me to say it? Do you want me to comment on this? Do you want me, because I ain't trying to mess up nothing, because I know that this man needs to know you for himself without my manipulation. I need you to show him that I am his wife. I need him to know that I am his wife, and him to come on his own to pursue me. Okay? So that is how God is calling you to stand if he has shown you who your husband is. And if he's going to show you who your husband is before it actually comes together, God is calling you to be in obedience to his word about how you are moving with this man. These men are used to females being desperate, used to females liking all their pictures, used to females commenting, used to females in their DMs throwing themselves at him. Baby, no, he says the wife will be set apart. Only say what God tells you to say, and then go somewhere and sit down. And if you don't get the response you want to get, go cry out to God, go cry out to your journal, but do not be up here like I'm sitting here like feeling desperate, like trying to call him again, like trying to be like, oh no, it's okay, I'm sorry, because I feel like I had messed up, because now I'm asking you like, why are you being inconsistent? Why are you blah, 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 blah? I'm worth more than that, blah, 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 blah. And God was like, cut the connection. Cut it off. You ain't even going to be able to talk to him, because, ma'am, this is not how I told you to respond to your husband. Okay? God cut the connection. I couldn't even talk to him if I wanted to. And now I'm over here in my feelings. Now I need to go talk to a friend. And he used Mia because Mia is one of my friends. She's married. She has 3 children. She's happily married. To me, when I look at her, like, she has a peaceful marriage, a peaceful husband. She is peaceful. How she treats her kids is peaceful. Like, I know he showed me her in this dream, and I was talking to her in this dream because she had the life that I was trying to get to. She had the life in the marriage of peace that I was trying to get to, that I look up to. Even though I don't remember us actually talking, I just remember us finding a seat. But God is calling you to close your mouth. Okay? You cannot talk to your spouse while they are in this stage of trying to figure out whether you're the one or not, and trying to, decide whether they want to pursue you, and they don't know if they hear from God or whether they hear from the devil, or whether you the right one, or whether you somebody trying to come and hurt them again. Like they are not going to receive you picking them apart about the things that they aren't doing perfectly, because they don't know how. Okay? They're in a stage of confusion. Some double-mindedness. You need to be praying against that to God. Pray for their clarity. Pray that the voice of God would be louder than the voice of the enemy in their lives. Pray that they will see God and see themselves how they need to see themselves so that they can receive you. But you think you're going to get on this phone and be like, why you didn't call me? Why you didn't text me? Whatever. We supposed to be this. We supposed to be that. I thought you was ready. You think you're going to get on that phone and talk to your husband like that? You are not. God is going to cut the connection. That's what you guys have been supposed to be learning in this season of waiting. And some of you haven't learned it yet, and that's why your spouse is not here. You are not going to treat these men in a way that is unworthy out of your desperation and your insecurity and your desire for them to see you. You need to be mature and confident in what God said and what God showed you, and let God do what only God can do. You cannot convince a man that you are his wife. God will speak that thing to that man first. That man will then, at some point, be like, I think you're my wife, yo. And then you confirm it. If he tells you to confirm it, then you need to let that man come to you. There was two YouTube channels or stories that God had me watch this weekend. Actually had me watch them both yesterday. One of them is Dust to Life, D-U-S-T to Life. God told me who my husband was, and now we're married. So her video showed, God showed her husband, they were in the same church and everything, and it showed how obedient she was. She did not do anything God didn't tell her to do. She did not do anything. And now she's married. She did not speak to that man of God and say hey. All she would do is say hey. Sometimes he wouldn't even look her way. And she over here knowing all along that he's her husband. And the man, in the next video, the man, she brought her husband in, and he was telling about his story and about if she would have gone outside of God's will, if she would have pursued him or said too much or whatever, he would not have received it. They would have ruined it if they were not in obedience to God. There is a role that you play in the prophecy coming forth, and it is obedience. And then the other people, I know you guys have seen the video of the girl doing a photo shoot and her getting proposed to at the photo shoot, and she had no idea, that she was getting proposed to. Then they put up their first video yesterday on their podcast. I think it's Merge to something. Let me see if I can find it. The Merge podcast. So they put on how did you guys meet? And in this in their meeting or whatever, she kept breaking up with him, kept brushing him off. But he knew there was something different about her. He kept pursuing her. Even though she was the one breaking up with him and being like, no, we don't need to talk. He wrote her a letter and put it in the mail and sent it to her when they were broken up. He pursued her until he was patient with her, until God could work on her and show her that he was the one. She had so much, trauma from the past, and she was looking for it to show up in a certain way. And then she even talked about control, how women want control, and how God does things. But he still pursued her. In the Dust to Life thing, the man still invited her to the cookout. He is the one that called her after God showed him that she was the one. These women did not have to pursue these men. All they had to do was obey God and sit still. That is what God is telling women to do. Obey him and sit still before you mess something up. Okay? This is a urgent 911 word. All right, the scripture or the pieces of scripture that the Lord led me to this morning is in Judges. It's in Judges 5, and it's when Deborah and Barak they had won. The Israelites, I believe, had won some fight over the Canaanites, and this is these two scriptures are under the song of Deborah and Barak, and it's Judges 5:2. Praise ye the Lord for the avenging of Israel, when the people willingly offered themselves. All right. Then it's 5:9, Judges 5:9. My heart is toward the governors of Israel that offered themselves willingly among the people. Bless ye the Lord. The men that God is sending as husbands will willingly pursue their wives. Once they know that you are the wife, and once God gives them the go ahead to pursue you, they will pursue you, and you just need to be in position. If that thing starts off a little rocky and you feeling like, dang, why he ain't called today, or why he ain't, be quiet, receive the call when it when it does come through, and act like you got some sense. These men are triggered by this yelling, by this nagging, by this stuff. Like some of the enemy is waiting for you to be nagging so that man can run and be like, oh, no. I don't want no woman like that. You need to be confident in who God has called and created you to be as a woman of God, as this man's wife. He will see that the counterfeit is a counterfeit. He will choose you. You don't have to do anything. Okay? Eve ain't have to do nothing. Ruth didn't have to do nothing but be in position. Okay? In position, and her position one night was laying on the floor, and Boaz was like, who is this? Because God had opened his eyes. God may have some of these men still sleep to you. They are blind to you. You out here acting a fool when they look up and start looking for a wife, they can be like, oh no, definitely not her because she's desperate. Y'all, do not think you know better than God how to have that man see you. You better be very careful about everything you do and everything you say as God is bringing this thing together, because the enemy is using that insecurity, that desperation, that loneliness to get you to speak out of turn. And God is saying, let me work on him. I'm doing something here. Baby girl, I love you guys. I hope that you receive this word. I hope that you receive this warning. And I hope that if you do feel like you have said something out of turn, you repent and be quiet and let God be God, because you will never be God. I don't care how much you want to control something. You will never control God's promise. All right? So you need to surrender all of that insecurity, all of that uncertainty. God is going to do things in his time. You don't have to speed it up. There's nothing you can do to manipulate God's perfect timing. Nothing. You can mess it up and you can cause yourself to be in delay. You sure can. So, y'all, sit still, sit pretty in this season, okay? Just focus on what God has told you to do. Focus on your promise. Be in the field, and the man will pursue you. He will pursue you. All right? I will see you guys the next time God sends me back. I love you guys. Have a great day. Happy spring. Bye.